Hi all, welcome. Today's topic is debunking the myths about sunscreen. And we're going to talk about there is so much conversations around some people are shouting put the sunscreen on every day, don't go out without sunscreen even if it's winter time, even if there is no sun at all, still put the sunscreen. It's a must. In the beauty industry, some people are promoting sunscreen, and on the other hand, the others are saying don't put sunscreen, it's full of chemicals, it's actually um, it's getting absorbed into your bloodstream, and it's actually toxic and dangerous for your health. So I think here we are trying to, in this conversation, we're trying to make sense to it and really ground these ideas so people have um, understanding on what to do and why, and then you can make choice based on this information, so you are empowered with knowledge, and then you can go and make your decision. We're not going to be prescribing anybody do sunscreen every day or never do sunscreen. It's always middle ground, first of all, but also we will just share our perspective, an Ayurvedic perspective about sunscreen, and have a general discussion about putting the benefits of putting the sunscreen and not putting the sunscreen so that you can decide for yourself.
Yeah, great. I mean, it's definitely a hot topic, I think, because people don't really, luckily there are more mineral based, more kind of healthy sunscreens coming to market now, which are, you know, effective, proving to be very effective. So I think people are feeling a little bit better, maybe, about putting sunscreen on every day. Um, but for me, I mean, I'm careful with the sun exposure and I'm using my intelligence to work out when I need to put it and when I don't need to put it. So for me, I go out and do an early morning walk, for example, every day. I love it, especially in the summertime. And I won't put sunscreen on when I do that because I actually want to get sun on my skin because it's so important, isn't it? Like vitamin D, it's really important for our body to to absorb some sun. But I wouldn't go and do that if I was going out between, say, 11 and 2 and it was really hot outside. I would just be careful about my exposure to the sun or put something on to protect myself. But I do try and limit it.
Exactly, I completely agree, and I think that's simple common sense, which people just forget about. They're so how the industry works is like really scaring people into something, and then people react. So they get very scared and they think, oh my goodness, like what's going to happen to me? I really need to slava this sunscreen all over my body every day, even in the dark, even if I don't go out, God forbid something happens. And other people are getting really repelled by that, so they don't do anything at all. And again, it's always about the balance. It's not about the fear, it's really about knowledge and understanding. For me, I do the same as you, Sam. I don't put sunscreen on every day. And again, it's our perspective. We don't prescribe that. If you were advised by your medical practitioner to put sunscreen every day, do put it on every day. We just share our experience, and it's for me is again common sense. If my skin starts to get red and burning, then I would go either in, or if I'm out somewhere at the beach, I would just apply sunscreen, obviously. If I see my skin starting to go red,
Yeah,
I
and
either
cover
hide
up.
or
And cover
cover.
up. Yeah.
Also, I do put the sunscreen on, and like we've been to Tenerife during the springtime on the holidays, and it's so different as well, where the exposure that the sun is different there, like it's much stronger, and for people like me with very fair skin, you can get burned so easily, and especially the children. My children actually, there was not enough sunscreen, not enough protection for them, so they did get burned, and that's not ideal. That's not what we want to happen. Then you have to be really, if you are out there in the sun, you are in the water, which is also attracting more sun rays to your body, then definitely put the sunscreen on. Absolutely, that you have to have that extra layer of protection. It's really important, or you will burn yourself.
But I think the thing is like the sun's not our enemy. And I think we're kind of in this age at the moment where it's being made to be the enemy. And I do understand, obviously, we're living in a toxic world. There's a lot of pollution. We have damaged our environment, our planet, our protection. So I know it's a lot different maybe to when we were kids, where sunscreen wasn't really so much of a thing. I mean, I don't remember it when I was a
And
kid.
it
I
didn't
know that you
exist
don't
in my
either. Yeah.
childhood.
Yeah. So it's like, how can we make friends with the sun? How can we enjoy the sun? And not also feel like we're just lathering ourselves with toxicity by putting on the sunscreen. I think it's a really, really fine balance and a really good topic of conversation. Because, like we said, we do need the sun's rays. We need our sun. I mean, there was something recently I read where the scientists in Oxford are looking to block out the sun. I
I
mean,
know.
I've
I
never
was
heard of
thinking
anything so
that's
insane in my life. Like,
nonsense.
how do we as a species and how does our planet survive without the sun? So it's a really important balance. Like our bodies do need it. We do need it. We need to get out in it, but we have to do it sensibly. We have to do it when it's not really strong. But and expose ourselves for a limited amount of time and then get into some shade. Um, so yeah, I think that's a really interesting discussion.
Yeah, it's um as you said, like as children we didn't have any sunscreen, and then we learned to live in tune with nature, as many communities, we already were discussing it in a previous conversation, like in Spain people were having siesta, in Italy people having their long lunch meal and they have a rest after that. And in many different countries they do lay in or hide during this peak um, sunshine times. And when I was small as well, we didn't have any sunscreen, but also I don't remember this huge rates of skin cancers. It was just common sense to, obviously, if you start seeing any redness, then you just have to hide yourself. And then at night, you protect your skin and then you cover yourself. And if you have to, you just don't go out in the sun at all.
Mm.
Obviously, environment is changing and we're traveling so much, and people with fair skin go to equator like I did, where sun is so much stronger. And that's why people from that part of the world, they having dark skin, like they have darker skin type. And these people actually need more sun. They do need naturally more sun. If they don't get more sun, then they don't have enough vitamin D.
Yeah.
And that, so this is a very fine balance. And I think what you said about villainizing the sun, making the sun an enemy and attributing all the skin aging to the sun is as incorrect as like not putting any protection whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder whether we just as a species now, we are just because of the toxicity of everything, like what we're, if you have a look at the average skincare that you purchase from the high street, like you look at the ingredients list, I mean, most of us are getting educated on that now, thank goodness. But, it's a lot of toxicity and we're doing lots of layerings, we're having this and we're putting that on. What's happening to our protective barrier, our skin barrier? It's basically getting reduced and reduced. We're damaging our skin barrier by putting on lots of stuff. And I know people are saying that the sun's also damaging your skin barrier, but it's like, which one is it? Is it because is our skin barrier damaged already because we've been putting on loads of product? And then
That's
that's
an amazing
just
point.
except, and then the sun exposure is just creating more and more issues as we're seeing like the increase in skin problems and skin sensitivities because of the sun, skin cancers, that kind of thing. It's difficult to know which one is
Yeah,
causing
it's like
which,
a
isn't
chicken
it?
and egg situation because
Yeah,
obviously if you do the chemical peels, then you do microneedling, then you do all the laser treatments, your skin will naturally become more sensitive to sun. And if you already have a fair skin, then you actually advise try to protect yourself from sun all the time. And that's where this thing is coming from. It's like a vicious circle of, you get yourself exposed to very harsh treatments, which are absolutely non-natural and all trauma based. And then you have to be put on a forever solution as a sunscreen, a form of sunscreen, because your skin is not having the barrier to protect yourself to you
yeah.
anymore.
So
That's
I
really
wonder whether if we looked at like root cause and we looked at a solution, then maybe protecting our skin barrier and our skin microbiome is the first step, that what we can do, how we can empower ourselves to make friends with the sun, to have healthy sun exposure, like we said, not in full sun, early morning, later on when it's much cooler. Like, how do we go about doing that? Like, really kind of looking at what does our skin need? And we talked about this in a previous conversation, but our skin is made up of trillions of microbes, bacterias. We are a microbiome. Our skin is the first line of defense, so it's just full of these microbes and bacteria. So as disgusting as that might sound, it really is. And they're all working as an ecosystem. So everything on there is like a fine balance. And so when we start to layer things on, like Maria just said, all these harsh treatments or toxic ingredients, then we're affecting the balance of that. We're affecting our ecosystem. So how can we work with our ecosystem to really restore it and strengthen it and make sure that our skin is ready to receive some sun in a healthy way? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I think it's a really great point, because healthy skin, if you look at the health of your skin, because again, I'm villainizing the industry now, but what is being shown to us on the social media platforms, on TV, is this glass-like skin, which is super thin and like, so beautiful. And it's it's really unhealthy actually, because all the layers, all the upper layers been scraped, and it becomes so thin that it doesn't really protect us. And then naturally, that's also part of like looking after our skin health is a part of protecting yourself from the sun. It is meant to protect you from the sun. Like, if you go to the sea and swim, the bacteria doesn't flow, or like you don't get water inside of you. The skin protects you. You're not going to be flooded with the sea while you enter the sea. So
Yeah.
it's just, again, like looking after the health. And that's why we've developed our product range, because it's all about the skin health. Our cleanser is so gentle. And I mean, that's for me, it's like just number one, because cleansers most of them are so harsh, and they do contain all those. If it's a foaming cleanser, then 99% it's going to have chemicals, especially if it's water-based, then it has to have preservatives as well. And our cleanser is a powder. It's a herbal powder. It was used for millennia in India, for this beautiful glowing skin, and also to preserve the skin microbiome.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, there's a really interesting article here. I'm just going to share it with the screen here, where it's just talking about the skin microbiome bacteria, and it's saying how it's enriched following long sun exposure. And basically, what's happening in this particular article, which is fascinating, it's saying like so by long sun exposure, it doesn't mean being out in the sun all day, but what it's saying is that prolonged sun exposure, so throughout the summer months, your skin is building a resistance, and it's also the microbes on your skin are actually getting affected by the sun in a positive way. So some of them, it says here, these results provide a proof of concept for the role of the skin microbiome in protection from solar radiation. So some of these microbes inside of on your skin are actually protecting you. So, sun exposure is not
Fabulous.
necessarily the enemy when it's done in the right way, which is fascinating. I was just trying to find the conclusion here, but I can't seem to get the last piece. But what are your thoughts on that, Maria?
Yeah, definitely. Well, here's the conclusion. You can read it out.
Yeah, so we assume that this can change potentially this change could potentially protect the skin from solar induced damage. We assume that the bacteria enriched after long exposure to UV can protect a wide range of protective metabolites, and that these metabolites, which accumulate throughout the summer season, can have a long-term beneficial impact on skin health. And that's kind of what we're talking about here. We're talking about if you have a healthy skin, so if you're protecting yourself in the right way, if you're using natural products that are nourishing and enriching and working with your skin microbiome and not damaging your skin barrier, then there's no reason why you can't go out for healthy sun exposure without applying sun cream all the time. Um, I think that that is probably quite a good way of finding a balance between, what's happening out there with the fear-driven sunscreen every single second of the day versus, okay, how can we do this in a way that is healthy and manageable and not putting more toxic load into the body? Because as we know in Ayurveda, everything that goes onto the skin gets absorbed into the bloodstream. And then it has to go, the liver is then overworked and its whole detox
If it
process
penetrates, if it penetrates, yeah.
deeply penetrates. That's right. And if you're not cleansing regularly, which many people are not, then, it's not good to put more
Yeah.
toxins in.
I
Although
think
saying that, there are healthier sunscreens out there now, which is great.
yeah, that's a really great point. And definitely, if you put anything on your skin, then do choose the least harmful one. Although, like, from our own experience, it can be very tricky to choose the right sunscreen. And I still haven't found the perfect one because I was trying to go for a most natural one, and then I found out that apparently they're not natural one. I was so deeply disappointed. But we'll have a different conversation about that, about discussing all the ingredients in the sunscreens, which one to go for, which natural ingredients protect your skin. But for now, it's just to sum it up. Um, the benefits of skin exposure are many. So this sun is a vital energy, and we need to expose ourselves to the sun because this vitality in us is really deeply connected to the sun. So we need solar energy. The second point is that vitamin D production is not possible unless you really expose yourself to the sun. And it can be difficult here in the UK, but like, at least your upper body, your arms and your face and neck without sunscreen. And you can experiment with that because it's difficult to provide a generalization for everybody. Somebody with very fair skin may have like just a short 10-minute exposure when there is like really low um, in the early morning when there is no sun, and you can kind of gradually start building that. Or like if you have darker skin types, you can do more. You can experiment and like, go out 5 minutes without the sunscreen, see what happens, observe the changes, and then add on a little bit more, not in the peak times. So the energy, the vitamin D, and circadian rhythms as well, as we get sun onto our third eye area and the pineal gland, it just regulates our sleep and wake cycles. It's so
Yeah.
important. Obviously, vitamin D is connected with the bone and muscle health. Then it's just for the mood, like you notice that people who live in countries with less sunshine, they're more exposed to depression. They're depression is more predominant in those countries. So sunshine is natural mood booster. It's important to be in the sun. And then finally, people nowadays they notice hyperpigmentation and they say, "Well, I don't even expose myself to the sun, so what's going on?" And and that's the thing. So when you completely block something out, and then especially with all the UV radiation which is going from the screen, it actually can accelerate the hyperpigmentation. So people were saying that hyperpigmentation was because of the sun, but it's not necessarily. You have to have some healthy exposure. So on one part of the one side is that the benefits of the sun, and obviously the disadvantages, especially, well, they mainly come when you have too much sun, and then that you can have a burn, you can have there can be any kind of skin cancers with inappropriate exposure as well. But it also is to do with the general health and the skin barrier. It's not just the sunshine. And the third one is the toxicity of the ingredients in the sunscreens. because obviously we try to block the sun and we put ingredients, and then, especially when we cover our entire body in the sunscreen, and then these ingredients do get absorbed into our bloodstream, and we do need to eliminate them from our body, and it does put an impact on our detox pathways.
Yeah. So there we go. Hopefully that's confused you or given you some clarity.
I think that it can be like knowledge is power. So once know that there is no right or wrong for everybody, but you can experiment with like being in the sunshine, and you don't need to always completely protect yourself, like head to toe, that you need at least some sunshine in the non-peak sun times.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.